If you feel called to help others in a more powerful way, this is the right place. Today we're diving into how to become a life coach and get paid. First, let's talk about the training and expertise that is necessary. And then we're going to talk a little bit about your offer, and stick around because I'm going to reveal to you the biggest mistake that most new life coaches make and how to avoid it. You probably already know that official training, certification, licensure is not required to become a life coach. Now, this is good news because the barrier to entry in this field is very low. And this is also bad news because the barrier to entry in this field is very low, and so anybody can show up and do whatever and call it life coaching. There are many good reasons to get yourself trained and certified if you want to do this kind of work. Formal certification isn't legally required, and licensure in most jurisdictions is not an issue when it comes to life coaching. But training and certification can help to give you the confidence and the differentiating factors that will help to set you apart from other life coaches. Think also about your clients, your potential clients, whose confidence and your credibility might depend on what kind of experience and training you've received. At this point, you might be wondering, so why is Dr. Paul Jenkins talking about this? I am a professional psychologist. I've been in practice now for about 30 years. And the first half of that time was spent in traditional psychotherapy. The second half of my career so far has been spent in coaching. And now I'm at a point in my career where I train and certify and support life coaches. A lot of life coaches get into the industry because they feel called to do it. Now, I mentioned that earlier, and maybe you've felt it. You know, that nudge, that urge inside of you somewhere that says that there's more that you could do to elevate and lift and bless the lives of your fellow human beings on the planet. Now, some coaches get into it and just follow their intuition. And usually it's pretty good. Sometimes they get misdirected or get into trouble because they don't have the models or the tools or the skills that will help them to really be in a position to assist those that they serve. As a professional psychologist, I went to school and got a PhD, and then I went through an entire licensing process to become credentialed to do the kind of work that I did for the first half of my career. I am now taking those credentials and that experience and that knowledge to do the training that I do now as I support life coaches. I think one of the points to pay attention to here is that you don't have to do this alone. Find a mentor, find a group that can support your development, your professional development. This is a shift if you're coming from a different industry. Or if, like me, you start out in the mental health field, there are some crucial differences that you need to learn and pay attention to if you really want to be an effective coach. Hey, as you're watching this video, what are your biggest questions about becoming a life coach? Go to the comments below and let us know what it is that you're wondering or what your questions are. Let's get some conversation going. Let's transition now to talk a little bit about your offer. This is what you intend to do to serve others. And one of the biggest mistakes I see new coaches make is that they want to help everybody. Doesn't that just sound noble and good? You're going to help everyone. The problem is, if you want to help everyone, your marketing messages will be so wimpy that you'll help no one. So you have to get really clear about who it is that you are there to assist. And once you become clear about that, then you can make an offer to them about what it is that they're looking for. One of the certified positivity practitioners that I've trained put it this way: I help new moms rediscover balance and self-care. Do you see how clear that is? She knows that she wants to help these new moms get back on their feet. And that messaging will speak directly to them. Here's another example. I work with executives and team leaders to create a positive company culture with their team. These two coaches have very different areas of focus. They both want to help people, but they had to get really clear about who it is that they help and how. The clearer your offer is, the easier it will be to attract paying clients. And maybe I should say a quick word about that, because if you feel called to do this somewhere in your heart and mind, then you can't ignore that. You have to do it. Have you noticed? It keeps nagging at you. It keeps bugging you. It keeps urging you forward. So you have to do it, right? And either you do it as a service project, in which case don't quit your day job, you gotta buy groceries somehow, or you come up with an economic engine for the mission, something that drives it forward. And that's why we want you to be able to figure out how to get paid to do this. That leads me right into the final point that I wanted to make today, and it has to do with having a viable business model. One of my personal coaches, Jody Moore, shared with me a business model that has completely transformed the way that I do business. And if you'll imagine 3 buckets. So bucket 1 is all the people on this planet who know you exist. Bucket 2 are the people who know you, like you, and trust you. It's a smaller number, I promise. And bucket number 3 contains all the people who are paying the bills. They're the ones who show up and actually pay you to do what you do for them. These 3 buckets represent a very simple but also viable business model. And everything that you do to build your coaching practice needs to put people into one of those buckets or move them from one bucket to the next. That's the simple version. And as a life coach, you're probably not in it because you're a whiz at business. You're probably in it because other things in your heart and mind are calling you to serve people. You have to work on your business as well as in your business. And you'll hear the distinction there. The calling that we feel has to do with working in our business and providing those services to people. But we have to work on our business in order to create the economic engine to drive that mission. As part of that business model, you'll also develop systems, the website, the methods for people to pay you, your scheduling system. All of those details can be handled once you have that viable business model in place and you get really clear about who it is that you serve. I promised you at the beginning that I would share with you the biggest mistake that I see new life coaches making. And it's exactly what we're trying to coach our clients to get through or to overcome. What's the mistake? It's believing what we think. And pause for a minute as I share that with you, because you already have thoughts, don't you, about what you can do, or whether you're qualified to do this, or whether you can handle what's required to set up that business model or gain the necessary skills and tools and models that you need. And whatever story you have about that, you already believe. This is the same place that our clients and customers get stuck. It's our job as coaches to help them overcome that. But the biggest mistake we make is that we don't handle that ourselves. Coaches need coaches. And if you are committed to this, then handle the considerations. What that means is that you become more aware of your own thinking. This is what I call metacognition. Cognition is thinking. Metacognition is a higher level. It's thinking about thinking. And I invite you to go to that level because that creates some space. And in that space is where choice exists. Until you see it as a choice, it's not. So notice that your brain comes up with reasons. That's the nice word. Sometimes we call them excuses of why we're not doing what we feel called to do or what we've promised ourselves that we would do. Maybe it's too hard or it's too expensive or I don't have the time. You know the ones. I call these considerations. So let's move out of excuse mode into considerations mode. If you are committed, then handle the considerations. If you are simply interested, then own that, and you don't have to do anything to move forward. You can keep saying all of the reasons or excuses that you have, but if you're committed, handle the considerations. So instead of saying, I can't afford it, what happens if you say, how can I afford it? Instead of saying, I don't have the time, what if you were to ask, how can I create the time? Everything is figure outable. And that's good news because in the coaching industry, that's exactly what people are going to hire you to help them accomplish. I certainly hope you got what you watched this video for, and there's more. Are you ready to kickstart your coaching journey? I have put together for you, for free, a life coach power pack. Go to the URL on the screen right now, drpauljenkins.com/powerpack, all one word. And I will put this right in your inbox. This power pack will give you the tools that you need to handle the 5 most common challenges that life coaches face when they're launching into this industry. Go get it. drpauljenkins.com/powerpack. You're welcome.